Welcome into this week's edition of Taylor Take. It's the Week 4 edition. And Coach, thanks for being here.
Yeah, glad to be here. It's the very congested Week 4 edition of Taylor's Take.
I think there's a bug going around. There's a few other people.
Yeah, it's the parting gift from the Bingo Hilton.
Yeah, that's right. Uh, let's talk about, the trip to the Bingo Hilton
Yeah.
and everything else. But this past week, uh, the team has had a couple doubleheaders. You guys were able to split in both of them.
Yeah.
And overall, the team went 4-5. So just talk about your team's performance overall in the last
You know,
week.
it was okay. I mean, both doubleheaders were on the road, so road split doubles. I mean, you got to take it, any day of the week. And the nice part is we won the first game of both doubleheaders, which it's kind of like playing with the house's money. And the second game in Anchorage against the Pilots, we had some chances to win that game, and we were hyper competitive. And the big takeaway from the second game, even though we lost in Kenai, was that Frederick gave us, I think, 5 really strong innings and allowed our bullpen to not get blown and allowed our bullpen to take a day to get healthy and get back to full strength. I mean, we're still in we're at the back end of that 10 games in 8 days stretch.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some extra inning games and whatnot in there. So, our guys have done a nice job. Our starters have done a nice job being able to allow our bullpen an extra day of rest here or there.
So you were mentioning the Bingo Hilton. This past weekend, the team made the trip down to Kenai for the second time this year.
Yeah.
But for the first time for quite a few of these players, it was their first time
Yeah.
spending time at the Bingo Hilton. So just talk about what your thoughts are of the Bingo Hilton, as well as some
Well,
of
it's
these
a
players.
good bond thing, especially for the new guys, that are here that didn't get to experience the trip the first time. And these guys are really close. We spent a lot of time together here in the valley, so it's just another way for our guys to get closer and develop some friendships. So makes playing for each other a lot easier, because that's what we talk about all the time. That's what we try and get these guys to do is just play for each other. Play hard for one another.
Talk about the kind of support this team gets from the fans here in local
Yeah,
Palmer.
it's second to none, man. I mean, like, we had 4 or 5 campers
Yeah.
staying at the Hilton with us, and the nice meals that people cook for us. And these kids are a long way from home, and my coaches and I are a long way from home, and it's just the comforts of home, and the way people, the way they're so giving to our players and to us. It's just it's a special thing. We do it different than anybody else, and it really works for us.
So let's tilt the focus a little bit more to in-game analysis. So
Yeah.
yesterday against the Pilots, Jake Scudder had a tremendous day. He was 2 for 3, a single, double. He even had 5 RBIs, and he even had 2 stolen bases in yesterday's performance.
Yeah.
So, well, first of all, just talk about how important it is to get Jake Scudder going, and do you think this is
Yeah.
a turning point for him?
Yeah,
this
I
season?
think so. I mean, Jake's kind of he's kind of the gas that makes the engine go in the middle of the lineup, and he's been pitch tough, and he's scuffled a little bit, and dealing with struggling and all those kind of things. And for him to get a couple of big knocks and to have a good individual day, but not only help our team win the way he did, it was big. It's critical for us. I mean, he's an older guy. He's got great pedigree, and at the end of the day, Jake Scudder is going to be Jake Scudder, which means he's going to hit the middle of the lineup, drive in runs. Now, had he had not been doing that for a while, not a long while, but long enough for him. But it's nice when you know that guys are going to be who they are at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So let's take yesterday together more as a whole from a team standpoint. It's no mistake that this team has struggled offensively over the last week.
Yeah.
And yesterday, the team pretty much had everybody in the starting lineup minus one guy get a hit in that game. So it seems like these guys are playing with a little bit more confidence. Would you say?
Well, yeah, but I think I can't say they're not happy.
Mm-hmm.
They're not happy with their performance. They're not happy with getting shut out in Kenai. Um, you know, then it starts to go around. These guys don't hit, and it's a lot of pride thing, because these guys do hit, and these guys have hit for a long time. These guys have hit their whole lives, most of them. I mean, these guys, I call it looking at the back of the baseball card. It's not like these guys are, one-trick ponies. Um, and so, the pride thing starts to creep in. And that says a lot about these guys as men and as ball players. Like, we need to clean it up a little bit. And I'm really proud of them for how they bounced back and how they answered. And, it says a lot about our team going forward, as a team and as the individual players that make up this team.
Yesterday, late in the game, Jake Scudder on first base. There was a little bit of a late steal, him going to second base.
Yeah, we ran a delayed steal there.
Yeah, it wasn't the first time this year that's happened,
No.
actually. I think it happened just last week at home against the Oilers to tie up that huge game, which ended up in a walk-off sacrifice fly by Angelo Armenta. But will that be the last time we see this play? Or do you
Well, I
think
can't tell you that because everybody's going to look for it. But, sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get a win.
Yeah.
And you got to do what you got to do to get a run home. And, runs are at a premium. The pitching is good in this league. We're not the only team that's, had some tough offensive games. I mean, we've done it to a bunch of teams as the summer's going on. So, it's just guys saying, you know what, I'll do whatever I got to do to help our team win and play for my teammates. And it's just it's more of a statement as to how we want to go going forward.
You mentioned the pitching, especially, let's take a look at your team here.
Yeah.
Justin Bernia this past weekend with a complete game shutout, and before that, your big
Higgy.
Yeah, Higgins. He threw a complete game against the Pilots in a doubleheader as well. So just talk about these two pitchers and what they mean to the team.
You know what? Complete games like that in doubleheaders, that means we don't have to use the bullpen, which means Jordan Floyd gets a day of rest, which means Burley gets a day of rest, which means Vorhoff gets a day of rest. And that's how a pitching staff works. And I mean, that's how a pitching staff is a team within a team. These guys, take it up for each other. Like, Vorhoff throws 2 innings the night before. The starter knows he's got to go into the 7th, because we're not going to have Vorhoff for the 7th inning. It's just that's how it is. And these guys really, they compete for one another. And, I know I keep going on and on about that, but, that's everything in this game.
As we have like 3 weeks left of the regular season, it's still a very tightly contested race. Is this the closest race you've seen so far during your stay out here in the ABL?
For sure. I mean, last year, we had locked up the 1 seed and we had won the regular season with 2 weeks left to go. I mean, this is highly competitive and everybody's in the mix, and we've been fortunate enough to, I think we had a 5-game winning streak and a 4-game winning streak, and we haven't had a prolonged losing streak. What did we lose? 3 in a row and then lost 2 in a row. So we haven't gone on that huge skid. I mean, that's because our pitching is what it is. But, I learned from a coach a long time ago, a guy I really respect, and it's something that I believe as a baseball coach and a manager, and I believe just in life in general is, things are never as good as they seem and they're never as bad as they seem. I mean, yeah, we're in first place and we weren't playing that good, but we weren't playing that good and we're still in first place. So it's not that good, but it's not that bad. The fact of the matter is you're in first place.
I think
and people have been chasing us now for, 3 weeks we've been in first place?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
We've lost a little ground, we've gained some ground, we've lost some ground, but, we haven't given up that top spot. And, that's a testament to the 26 guys in this clubhouse that show up every day. Like they're out working Little League camp today, and, they do the things that they do in the community, and they get here at 3 o'clock for their extra work, and they're out there doing their extra conditioning and all the stuff they do, man. I mean, it's a nice reward for them.
You mentioned this is a team that's been in first place for now 3 weeks in a row. You were able to cross that goal off the goal board out here in the clubhouse. So
2 of them.
Yeah.
15 wins, and you guys told me we were at 14. I was like, no, I'm not going to argue with you on the air.
In my defense, I wasn't there, so it was my partner, Dan Collins.
Good buck pass.
Going to throw him under the bus a little
bit. He's right over here. You just threw him under the bus.
What, the record?
That's good stuff.
Is it the record?
Yeah, the 15-12 is the record.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, we're still on air.
Oh, fuck.
I'll
edit it out. I'm the editor.
All right. So, last question here. The postseason format, different this year because of the odd number of teams in the ABL. Just what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's great. The postseason is a postseason. Everybody's 0-0. And, our goal is to be the 1 seed and host. That's the first goal is to get to the playoffs. The second goal is to be a host. The third goal is to be the 1 seed, and we just got to keep chugging along, man, day by day, one day at a time, and they do a pretty good job of that. And I mean, we got a long time before the playoffs. I think the fourth or the fifth place team is only probably two and a half behind us.
They were two beginning.
So
yesterday.
I mean, it's tight, man. I mean, a lot can happen. Everybody's pretty good, so we just got to worry about what we're doing and keep looking out of the windshield, not in the rearview mirror.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Coach, for being here.
Yep,
That will
glad
do
to
it
do
for
it.
this week's edition. Next week will be my broadcast partner, Dan Collins, joining the skipper here.
Filthy Dan Collins.
Filthy Dan Collins. But stay tuned next week. Dan Collins will be here. And, Coach, good luck today against the Chinooks. And
Yep.
let's hope for a W.
Yep, I'm in.